Hi, Billy the Artist here, and this is part one, the basics of how to draw, and hopefully I can share with you some of the things that I've learned in my life on drawing and then taken into painting as well. But this is the basics to get you going to enjoy, and that's the most important thing, enjoy your drawing. So we'll go straight in. Here you can see I've got a sketchbook. This is from 1990, over 2 decades ago. Just keep a sketchbook, doodle, even doodle on scraps of paper. So what I've got here is just how I keep my ideas bouncing around. So here's a sketchbook so you can see from way back when. Just draw anything around you. This was when I was working on a factory, and you can see it's all to do with shapes. It doesn't matter whether you want to draw a bird, a bee, a flea or a tree, a horse or a house or anything else, whether you want to do cartoons, whether you want to do digital art. You've all got to learn to draw and use shapes. So you can see the shapes of boxes and circles and ellipses and rectangles. And that's how things are made up when you do drawings. You have to make and build things out of shapes. So these are just my sketches. This was out the entrance to work. I went out in the break at one point. I say this is over 2 decades ago. There's a street scene, which I just stepped outside a house and there you go, you've got a street scene. The bonnet of a car with the reflections in. These are all very, very quick sketches. The interior of a house with a piano, the interior of a church. Just lots and lots of different little sketches. These were quite quick. Product designs, clocks, clock faces, everything is made up of shapes. As my parents, my mum and my dad, just sitting watching TV one night, just doodle and draw and enjoy and just practice. And that's the most important thing, is just practice and enjoy your drawing. But here's another thing, like I say, a more modern sketchbook. This is something that's quite new. You see how this original drawing, this doodle idea in my sketchbook for the Isle of Man TT races, it's for a banner that was used to promote a charity event over there, then became a more finished piece of drawing that then became a full painting. Now, if you click on the link, you'll actually see the drawing and the painting from start to finish of that piece of artwork. But again, it's all based on shapes. And drawing, you can either do drawings that are very quick or you can do drawings that are very slow. So here are some other examples of my art. Here are 2 pencil drawings of TT road racer Guy Martin, and so you see on the left from 2010 and then 2011 bike on the Wilson Craig Honda and the Suzuki. These drawings are over a week a piece, so they could take 5 to 8 days to actually do this level of art to get this kind of detail done. Now, you don't have to go that far with your drawing, you can just enjoy it. This is a day to 2 days drawing. This is Rob Austin in the British Touring Car Championship driving an Audi A4. Now again, you can see in an earlier sketchbook how, here's more doodles. Like I say, just doodle and draw and sketch. Lots of people, lots of ideas. Oh, there's our dog. Well, there's more of the TT things. But here you are, so you can see I have simple shapes that start building up the Audi TT. These were prep drawings, the Audi A4, sorry, of Rob Austin. And you can then develop this. If you click on this link, you'll actually see this drawing again from start to finish, from blank piece of paper to this finished piece of art. And hopefully I can just encourage you to enjoy your drawing and enjoy your art, so that wherever you go, even if you're out at, like say here, at a music event, you can take a sketchbook with you and you can draw. And this was done while the musicians were actually playing and performing. I had about 40 minutes to an hour to put this together, but you can see again, there's just lots and lots of different shapes that make everything together. Again, enjoy it, just start practicing and start working. But what shapes do you need to do and what do you need to use? Well, here we start with a blank piece of paper. Everything is built up from either a box, a rectangle, a square, a triangle, a circle, a cone and a cylinder. So here, just imagine just drawing squares, rectangles will help you to actually start to build shapes up. Again, triangles of different sizes will help you to make it, and just enjoy making marks with a pencil. Again, circle, with your hand you won't be able to do it perfectly, but you'll be able to do ellipses. I used to just doodle and draw ellipses on a piece of paper. You know, like just get a piece of paper and just doodle and mess about and enjoy the process of making marks. And I just used to draw ellipses for hours and hours and hours and hours. You know, while you're watching TV with your family or something like that, you can just sit there and draw these shapes. Again, if you draw a box, you can see how the shapes actually start to form and make things. Again, even on pencils, this is a 2B pencil. You can just use a HB. You know, you get the grades, everything from 6H, which means very hard, and you get a soft line right the way through to 8B. This is an 8B pencil, and you can get quite a dark, hard line. But I tend to use just a 2B pencil for most of my drawings. You can also get these propelling pencils, little clutch pencils, so you get like a solid, consistent line. If you want a dead straight line, use a ruler. You know, don't be afraid to use a ruler to draw things. Again, that'll help with perspective sometimes, especially if you are trying to draw buildings and different things that have got straight edges. Use a ruler, don't be afraid to use a ruler. If you want to draw perfect circles, you can get anything like a coin. You can use a pair of compasses, but that might leave a hole in your actual piece of paper. But again, like I say, just getting coins, you can get different size circles that you can draw around. Anything like a bit of a cardboard tube out of an old sellotape holder right the way through to a plate. Anything that's got a circle, you can use and utilise that. You know, you can then give them a couple of eyes and a big smiley face and some funny hair. And that's how simple drawing anything is. Now, when I was a lot younger, I mean, you saw a sketchbook of mine from earlier, from 1990, when I was about 20 years old. I used to copy cartoons and comics and things like that. So the Dandy, the Beano, 2000 AD, Batman, anything, you know, Asterix. I used to sit down and copy the actual images that were there because I got reference that I could work towards. But also you can get things like, you know, a paper that gets pushed through your door, advertisements. There's lots of images there to actually train your eye. You know, I recommend, you know, you can use a pencil and draw over it. But if you're drawing a car, you know, just learning the shapes, draw around the actual items that are in there, you know, even boxes. Just getting your hand and your eye used to actually drawing around certain things. So if you're into horses, get horse racing stuff, and you can actually draw the horses and copy them and make them work. Now again, in this car section, there you've got an ellipse that you can draw over. You know, you can just draw around it and learn to get your hand and your eye working together. So like I say, you can see on the car, you can draw around the shape, and it starts to get your hand and your eye working together to enjoy your drawing on whatever it is that you want to draw. And then hopefully maybe even paint, or even if you're doing digital art, it all starts with learning these very, very simple techniques. So we'll go back to, you know, the bird. You saw the photo earlier when I said, you know, you could draw a bird, a bee, a flea, or anything like that. If we have the bird, so we've got this rather nice fetching crow, so we've got a nice blank piece of paper, you can start to draw out the lines very, very simply, and imagine that they are boxes. So here we've got the edge of the post. You can draw the construction lines. And the other thing about drawing shapes as well is, if, like I say, you draw a box here, you know that the bird's legs and everything are going to fit in. So I've just put in some very, very quick, simple boxes. There's a triangle for where the beak is going to be, and a little square for the head, and a big square for where the body is, and then the bottom of the wings. And you can just start to build up and make shapes to actually draw together. Everything. You use the squares and then start drawing ellipses and circles. So coming down to the bottom of his body is another little rectangle there. The top of his leg is a little rectangle. The left leg is a little rectangle. And you can see these little rectangles going, but the claws are going to be little triangles. And this is how simple it is to actually use shapes. But again, if you get a paper and draw over them, birds, anything like that, cars, little circle for where the eye is, drop the little dot in for his beak, then you start to see how using the shapes of a box, a circle and a square and a tube and a cylinder can help you to actually put a full image down quite quickly and just develop your sketching. But by putting the shapes down, you don't end up with running out of space on your actual paper. You then place the item that you're drawing, the object that you're drawing, in a decent place, and you can actually enjoy the process of doing the drawing and then not get frustrated because the item that you're trying to get is just too big to fill the paper, and you get frustrated because, oh, that shouldn't be there, I should have had that a little bit over to the side. But hopefully, like I say, these basic drawing techniques, you see the legs and then you get a little lump there coming down, and you get the claw. Again, the harder you press on, the darker a line that you actually get, and you can actually make it stand out. That's something with a 2B, it's quite easy to get a soft line, but then if you press on, you get a darker line as well. 8B, it's a much softer pencil, so you can get a darker area much quicker. The folded wings on the back of the crow are quite nice. But there you have that nice crow who's sitting on that fence looking for his next meal. Very simply made up of a few shapes. There's one rectangle, there's the top rectangle, and then you can push the box out, triangle for his beak. That helps very simply. Now, around your home, you can find many objects that will help you to practice. Let's say I showed you my sketchbook, I was doing drawings from work and things from at home. Very simply, things like a mug is just 2 ellipses with a straight line down either side, and then you've got the handle. So you could even draw a box first if you wanted. Make that a box. Do a box at the top. If you put a centre line down the middle, and then you can draw your ellipse inside, so that if you then do your darker line on the top, you've then got your mug on the front, and that's very simply made up using boxes to form the shape of that very basic mug. Now you can then put some liquid in it and some steam lines, nice smiley face, it's a happy cup of tea. And that's very simply how you can look at objects around your house. Even different shaped cups and saucers, mugs that have got a tall, wide, fluted shape to them. So you've got a large circle ellipse at the top and a smaller ellipse at the bottom. Again, so if you draw a larger rectangle, a smaller rectangle, and then connect them down, you can see you've got that kind of shape. That's now a box that's receding down. Draw your centre line down, line through the middle, and then you can do a much smoother line. Try not to hold it like your pencil, like you would hold a pen for writing. Use just the flex of your wrist and your arm. Just have it a bit free so you can feel your arm moving from your elbow, and that helps you to get more fluid lines. And there you've got the 2 ellipses, and you can just do a slight curve to that box. Then you've got the handle that goes on the side. Again, you can put a box on and the handle is possibly more got a triangle shape, so just draw a guidance line around it, and you can draw in the shape of the handle that goes on. Then if you really want to, you can use a rubber and eraser to get rid of your construction lines, and so they can disappear. And I use a Stettler Mars plastic and what's called a putty rubber, because you can actually form a putty rubber to a point, and that'll help to get rid in tight corners if you want to. But actually just use a rubber and an eraser as part of your drawing tool, as part of your drawing kit. And that way you can then get rid of your construction lines, and you've just got your mug that's drawn nice and easily using boxes and shapes and circles and ellipses. Again, that whole box element that's out there, everything, you know, here's a HD drift camera box. Again, you can see it is just nothing but a box shape. And the same with the actual camera. You can take any item that's around you and use and utilize the actual boxes. So there's two lines going down, there's a line going across, and I've drawn the back line, and there you've got the box. But you can draw lightly in the background so you can see the total construction. There's more lines on the HD drift box, and even things like the logos that are on it. So you've got everything that's on, the technical little illustration of the HD camera, the drift camera that's on the front with all the text, and then the drift logo. It's nothing but shapes. So you've got a little diamond square where the drift would go. Just draw a simple line where on the same angle where the text goes for drift, and then you can put in the actual text. And I'm just drawing it in black here rather than reversing it out, just for speed, so that you can actually see quickly how easy it is to actually put an image together just using shapes. So there's another rectangle that's on a slight angle that becomes the HD camera. There's the window on the side where you get your playback. Your various buttons are just little squares and little rectangles on an angle. And it says HD on the side. Just put some lines on to indicate where the text is, and then you can darken up the outer lines of the box. That's how simple drawing can be to make anything up. It doesn't matter whether it's a car, a rocket ship, a cartoon character. Just using, as I say, squares that can then become boxes, and ellipses that can become tubes and cylinders. Using those shapes and just constantly drawing and doodling and enjoying the process of it will allow you to draw anything that you want. So it doesn't matter what you're into, whether you want to do comics, cartoons, digital art, as I've said before, or whether you want to do motorsport like I do a lot of artwork. Using these techniques, you will actually see and get the skills over time by practicing. And that's the one thing, practice. It can be really frustrating sometimes, but by constantly just drawing and making marks, you'll be practicing and getting better each time. And that's the one thing. It doesn't matter whether it's a musical instrument, whether it's art, whether you're doing your maths timetables, or whether you're starting a job and learning new skills. It's only practice that allows you to get better. So just practice making marks. Enjoy the process of producing little bits of art, even if it's just doodling and doodling shapes. Because by doing that, you're training your hand and your eye to actually work together. And again, you can get these boxes and these shapes. And if you get the newspapers again and the different things that are out there that you can use and utilize, you can get something that's got a person on, and you can see how boxes and shapes and cylinders, you can draw over the bodies to start understanding how shapes make up everything, and that way you can enjoy your art a little bit more because you're using the process of drawing using shapes. So there you can see rectangles that can become cylinders on the arms, and she's got a camera that's made up of a box with a cylinder on the front, and you can then take that to your own sketchbooks and you can develop your drawings to become much better with a lot more practice. So hopefully on the basics part 2 I will show you how more about shading and different techniques that can be involved in shading, but hopefully you've enjoyed this, and it's just fun. Just enjoy drawing. That's how I got into it. It was something I could do from a very young age. From about the age of 7 I can remember drawing, and like I say, you can just draw using shapes. You can just draw and make funny little characters up, and it doesn't matter whether you're doing manga right the way through to very high-end art or drawings or paintings. Just by learning to use these shapes and enjoying it and having fun practicing, you can actually produce some great art that you can show your friends and your family, and who knows, it might even become your job. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please do subscribe and follow me on YouTube, and you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and you'll see all the new work that I'm producing, and I'll post more videos on how to draw different characters and different things, as well as the main art that I produce. Thank you for your time. Ta-ra.